swimming and Michael Phelps and Katie Ledecky and anything else that my wife feels like putting on television here over the next 10 days. But I will be attending a little Ravens action on Thursday night. And, of course, preseason drones on in the NFL. But the Major League Baseball pennant race is very much upon us. And the Orioles off to sort of a chippy start on the road in Chicago and Oakland, and of course headed into San Francisco this weekend. Bats have been silent, arms have been better. It's all part of the story, and this guy is a frequent contributor here at WNST.net. He's also a featured columnist at Bleacher Report out of the second city of Chicago, Illinois. He is Seth Gruen, and this week, all of the national guys are writing about the Orioles, and certainly Dylan Bundy has struck everyone's attention, right, Seth? And I know you wrote a piece on him a couple of days ago.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that you know this story really well. He's a guy who was one of the best high school players really ever to play in the country, 3-time Gatorade State Player of the Year, 2011 Gatorade National Player of the Year, drafted 4th overall in 2011, and had Tommy John surgery and then had calcification in his right throwing shoulder, which can be very serious, and really couldn't get on the field after 2012 up until, very recently. So they decided that they were going to throw him out of the bullpen. He was out of options. So they had to put him in the bullpen if they wanted to keep him. They wanted him to enjoy a year of health. But, look, we've talked about it since spring training. The Orioles are a team that was desperate for starting pitching. He threw well out of the bullpen. They decided to accelerate that timeline, and now he's a real key component to this pennant race.
Well, there's no doubt about it. I mean, they almost might go as he goes because they didn't get the kind of help they needed at the trading deadline. But I'll tell you what, Wade Miley's been okay, and I don't think we expect more than okay out of him. My question would really be with Toronto and the Red Sox, sort of slapping around over the last 60 days. At what point do one of these teams come and get the Orioles? I had thought all along it was the Red Sox. I mean, I like the Pomerantz deal. I like what the Red Sox have done. I like what they did in the offseason. But then David Price has to take the ball every 5th day and go out there and win. No questions asked. Win. Pitch well enough to win. They certainly have hit well enough to win. And the Blue Jays it feels to me like they're just waking up right now. The Blue Jays are everyone's concern around here.
Yeah, well, the Blue Jays did go out and make that move for Francisco Liriano. Look, this has been a division that has been dominated by offense. We know that. The Blue Jays, Orioles, and Red Sox are 3 of the top 7 or 8 offensive teams in baseball, probably. So the team that can actually emerge as one that can throw capable starting pitching out there may ultimately be the one that can win this division. Now, you look at every team, each of the teams made a move to try to shore up its starting pitching. You mentioned the Pomerantz deal. The Blue Jays went out and got Francisco Liriano. The Orioles went out and got Wade Miley. But in effect, adding Dylan Bundy to the rotation is a de facto deadline deal. He can impact this team much more out of the rotation than he can out of the bullpen. And right now his ERA is down at close to a 3.0. He's striking a ton of people out, and he's looking every bit like a guy who ultimately will be an ace, if not now already a number 2 or 3 starter.
Well, looking like a guy who was the number 4 pick in the draft, right? I mean, literally, right? I mean,
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, that's
100% right.
Strasburg-y looking, right? And it just came later. Look, we've been talking about this kid for 5 years here, right? So it's nothing new. He had 2/3 of an inning in the big leagues before opening day this year, and 3 weeks ago, he had never been stretched beyond 55 pitches, and look winded at 55 pitches 3 weeks ago. Now at 95 pitches, and they're going to baby him, right? I mean, the one story
100%.
that Buck is not out on, that obviously Strasburg and his agent made a big deal a couple of years ago. We saw it with the Mets last year. I'm sure we'll see it with some other pitchers this year as well. There's a pitch, there's an algorithm here for how much you want a guy coming off Tommy John to go. And I don't know how far they're willing to push that, given that this kid is, over the next 3 or 4 years could win 80 games for them. I don't know, but I know how desperate they are to win a championship here. And if they start sniffing around, and he's got to be the guy that takes the ball and at least gets 90, 100 pitches, get him to the 5th or 6th inning every 5th day, given the bullpen and given the bats, if they can ever wake up, you're right, man. I mean, this would be how they win the division by 3 games, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, all the stuff you said is spot on. Look, they are going to baby him. I think his looking fatigued, at the 50 pitch mark is just more a product of him, A, not pitching over the past couple of years a lot, and B, needing to be stretched out after pitching in the bullpen. But, I mean, we've seen him crawl up in the 80s and the low 90s. What's maybe been his best asset is that he has been very efficient. When you look at those pitch counts, he's gotten into the 6th, 7th inning. And look, you love to see that. I think he had an 88-pitch, 7-inning outing against, I don't think it was the White Sox. I forgot who they played.
It was the White Sox over the weekend, yes.
That. Yeah, he had a 92-pitch start against the White Sox and then an 88-pitch start before that. And he's been wildly efficient, too. So he's checking all the boxes right now.
And striking guys out while being pitch efficient, right? I mean, that's the hardest thing to do.
Yeah, that, which means he's just throwing strikes. He's not throwing a lot of balls. He's keeping it in the zone. And that's the biggest thing for a young pitcher. What does every manager tell a young pitcher to do? Just go out there and throw strikes. He's doing that, and he's doing it well. And I'm telling you, this could be a guy who determines that AL East race.
He is Seth Gruen. He's out of Chicago on Bleacher Report. You can read his work and follow him out on Twitter as well. All right, so for the other things happening in baseball, obviously the Prince Fielder thing, what a bizarre circumstance there. Now, we had Albert Bell here, 20 years ago, and Mr. Angelo's cashed in his insurance policy and sent 88 back out to Tucson to graze and, sit on his money. The Prince Fielder thing being a legacy from his father and the kind of money he's made and the kind of Hall of Fame kind of talent that he flashed all during the early part of his career. This is kind of a sad ending, but more than that, how much money's involved in this with the Rangers, and the weird part of how good the Rangers are without him, and they've clearly prepared for life without him, and they went out on the deadline and made some deals that, I would not be shocked to see the Rangers in the World Series in October.
Yeah, absolutely. John Daniels is one of the best executives in baseball. I think sometimes he flies under the radar because that division just doesn't seem to get the same kind of ink the others do. But he had a tremendous trade deadline, obviously. We've talked about it, bringing in Jonathan Lucroy and Carlos Beltran. But, yeah, this Prince Fielder situation, it's sad. You hate to see someone's career end like this. He was such a prolific hitter. But clearly there was something going on. The numbers were so bad. You can't have your designated hitter hitting 200. It's incredible how well the Rangers have played with a guy like that in the middle of their order. So, bizarre, sad, and it's very unfortunate because by baseball standards, 32 years old, he should still be in the prime of his career.
Well, there's no doubt. I mean, 319 home runs and really having had much of the last 3 seasons kind of not be fully right. I know he's better in 15 certainly than he was in 14 or this year. And a lot of money due out to him. The races right now have gotten a little tighter. And look, the Orioles are going out to San Francisco this weekend from one side of the bay to the other. The Giants, no one has taken a fall quite like they have here over the last 6 weeks since the All-Star game. And, there's a real race there, and they might be in second place by the time the Orioles get there.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about the timing of when we talk about a particular team. Heading into the All-Star break, the Cubs weren't playing very well, and it looked like a lot of teams might catch them. And look, they're not that far ahead of the Nationals, 3-4 games, so that can change at a time. And obviously, we know that the NL West is tied right now. I think the Dodgers are playing a little bit over their heads, but I still like the San Francisco Giants to make it to the World Series out of the NL. I know they're not playing well right now, but it hasn't necessarily deterred me. I think they probably have the best manager in baseball right now in Bruce Bochy, or if you don't think he's the best, he's definitely top 3 every day of the week. And I think that the moves they made, some of them were under the radar, but will ultimately pay off.
Hey, Seth, always great having you on, man. We will check in with you out at Bleacher Report as well as on Twitter, and we'll be seeing you in Chicago very soon. I'm coming out for Pearl Jam next week, so I'm looking forward to that. My favorite thing to go to Wrigley Field for is not baseball. Hey, be well, man. We'll see you soon.
All right, later.
You got it. There he goes, Seth Gruen at Bleacher Report and out on Twitter. You can find me anytime, anywhere in the Buy a Toyota audio vault 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world. Download the TuneIn Radio app. We come in crystal clear each and every morning. Our WNST morning newspaper finds your email inbox right around 7 a.m. It's all powered up by Planet Fitness and PlanetFitness.com. Go out to PlanetOfTriumphs.com. Get some inspiration out there as well for your weekend. Last but never least, any breaking news that happens, Ravens, Orioles, materials, even out on the West Coast, any player moves, you'll get it all first on the WNST Tech Service. That is brought to you by Coons Ford of Security Boulevard. Nasty at WNST.net reaches me. Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, anywhere you are. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST Taos in Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.